Hey everyone, in this video I wanted to show you guys a new Pokemon for the Hyrule region. This Pokemon is a bug type Pseudo-Legendary, and it's something that I've wanted to make for a pretty long time. One of my favorite moments in Twilight Princess is fighting the Twilight Bloat, and if you don't know what that is, it is essentially like the mother of the shadow insects that you fight and collect the Tears of Light from in Twilight Princess to kind of rid the different parts of Hyrule that are shrouded in twilight and bring them back to like a normal state. I don't know, I feel like bug types they don't get proper love, and I really wanted to make something that felt really powerful. But I also learned quite a bit of things while designing this line. For this first form, it is based on the simple shadow insects that you fight. I always really loved their design. I always thought they looked very menacing and also really cool at the same time. As a kid though, I could never tell if they were like bad or good because you got the Tears of Light from them. But seeing them up close and stuff like that and reading more about them, they're not exactly the best thing ever, but I still think they're really cool. And while a lot of people don't like the parts of the game where you gather the shadow insects, I still think it's fine. It's still a part of the game that I personally still like. For this design though, I think I tried to do a shadow insect Pokemon in the past, and I always really struggled because, and this is just something that I struggle with a lot, specifically with this project, is I oftentimes will make things like too close to the inspiration, and it's definitely like a known flaw that I have, and other people have definitely pointed it out or probably noticed. And I think that's due to mostly me just being worried that like, oh, if it doesn't look enough like the inspiration, will people even know? Will I get criticized for making it look not close enough to its inspiration? And over time, I've kind of come to learn that it's okay if it doesn't look exactly like it. In a lot of ways, I think that makes it more unique. And I think people tend to like the designs that feel like they're related to that or obviously represent that creature from Zelda, but also look like their own thing. And I tried to really capture that with this Pokemon. I took inspiration from like Nincada, which is one of my favorite Pokemon lines, the Shedinja Pokemon line. And yeah, just tried to be a lot more loose with this design. Like, it has some elements of the actual creature, but ultimately I just kind of tried to make it look a lot more like its own thing. Because for this first stage specifically, it was just about turning this creature into a Pokemon. That was really my only goal, but to not fall into the trap of making it look too much like the inspiration. I also do think Twilight Princess kind of helps with that because its art style is more realistic and gritty in comparison to every other Zelda game. So being able to make something more cartoony oftentimes kind of makes that a lot easier. But overall, I think I did a decent job with this one. I definitely really like this Pokemon. So here is Twinymph, the Shadow Nymph Pokemon, and its bug and twilight type. Skittering underground during the day, they await for dusk to fall so they can pester the people of Hyrule at night. They are said to be a bad omen, and they represent the dark of the twilight. Its name is a combination of twilight and nymph, and its shiny is kind of just, I don't know, it's just something I wanted to make. I don't know. I thought the colors were cool. Its battle ability is Elusive Shadow. After using a move that removes itself from a battlefield, Twinymph gains increased speed. And then it also has a capture ability called Vessel of Light. After the first time you catch one, you obtain the Vessel of Light, which is an item that you will use to fill up to evolve it in the future. And it drops a Tear of Light when you defeat it. Like I said, this design, pretty simple, pretty straightforward, but I think I really like it. And my goal was to kind of allude to some Twilight aspects, but also make it feel a little bit different at the same time. For its second stage, this is where I think I had a lot more fun and was a lot more loose with it. Similar to another Pseudo-Legendary, Pupitar, it's one of the reasons why I felt like a bug Pseudo-Legendary still fit, because it has this weird cocoon stage where it's not quite as strong yet, but it's getting there. And I immediately wanted to make the cocoon look like a Zant head, but not fully like a Zant head. I wanted to kind of be really weird and abstract with it. And this is where I really just said, let's just have fun with it. Like, let's just be really loose with it. So obviously at the top of its head is this kind of weird rune crest thing, and that's meant to symbolize the vessel of light, how it kind of looks like a vine with kind of some sort of like, I don't know how to explain it, some sort of like grapevine type of thing. And like I said, even though it's supposed to be it's like I simplified it basically to the best of my ability, and I think it kind of adds this weird mysterious aspect to the design. Another thing that I did was still add those runes that you see a lot on Twilight related like architecture and stuff. So as you can see towards the bottom of it, there is this runes, but they're also supposed to kind of look like a mouth, but also maybe where the legs might have cocooned up into. And then obviously you got the Zant eye on the sides just to kind of give it looking more like it's an actual Pokemon. Cocoon Pokemon are some of my favorites because they're usually really weird and kind of abstract. It's like they're a Pokemon, but they also kind of feel like they're just something else, like an egg or something. And I really like that with this design. And like I said, just tried to be a lot more loose with it. It's very simple, but I also like the difference between its previous form and this form. And you'll see with the evolution how it kind of makes more sense, I think, whenever the full line is put up next to each other. So here is Cephashell, the Shadow Cocoon Pokemon, and its Bug and Twilight type. Wrapped in a head-like cocoon, this Pokemon awaits to be empowered by tears of light to reach its true form. Its name is a combination of Cepha, which is the prefix for head, and Shell, and that's a reference to Zant's head. The shiny just changes the color of the runes to be that more evil Twilight effect, and it evolves from Twinymph at level 35, which is a pretty high level for a first evolution, which is fitting for the pseudo-legendaries. Its battle ability is Twilight Teleport. If a move misses on Cephashell, it will vanish from the battlefield and reappear one turn later. And it has a party ability, Reinforced Light. Healing effects. While in your party, healing effects are increased for every tier of light slotted into the Vessel of Light. And it drops a Shadow Crystal, which is another evolutionary item for other Pokemon. Like I said, overall, this is a pretty simple design, but I think its abstract design and look and how it kind of connects to, you know, the Zant head inspiration, but also a cocoon makes me like it a lot. So hopefully you guys can feel the same. And for its evolution, we kind of go into a more grotesque route, because if you've played the games, you know that you fight the Shadow Insect boss, the Twilight Bloat, which is a pretty gross design for a Zelda game, but I also just really love it. I mean, that moment of being like, oh, there's one more tier. Okay, why is it just randomly in the middle of Lake Hylia? And then you go there and, oh, it's a boss fight. Okay. And it's just really cool. I liked seeing just a fully fleshed out, big, gross bug monster. And fighting it as Wolf Link is just super cool. Jumping on it and like biting it and stuff. It was just a really fun fight, and I really liked the design of it. And not very often do you get a actual boss in like the overworld of Zelda. And I think that's why I like Twilight Princess a lot, because it has a few of those moments. For this design though, the grotesque part is the part that is very difficult to deal with when trying to create a Pokemon, because you can't make something that's like too gross. And this design is kind of, you know, it's like slimy. If you've ever seen the artwork, or if you've ever seen the render of it, you can kind of see that it's all over the place, you know? So I try to find some sort of compromise of having that vibe and that feeling that it has, but also combining it with what I've already made, but also kind of almost making it look like it's a little bit different. I try to incorporate some of the more traditional Twilight design aspects into it a little bit more than the actual design, while also trying to make it feel more like a kind of bloated creature that it has become. There isn't a whole lot to say here, as I tried to just simplify it as much as possible while also making it relate back to the previous two forms. And overall, I think I did that. One thing you'll notice is that I didn't give it as many limbs as the original, because even in Pokemon, even the spider Pokemon don't actually have 8 limbs, they have 6, because they tend to not put a ton of limbs on Pokemon because it just adds a lot of clutter. And while this design kind of, even though I do think it's simplified version more for what the Twilight Bloat is, it still feels like it's a little overkill, but I also didn't want to disappoint on the Pseudo-Legendary aspect. And even when I look at things like Golisopod, that's a pretty over-designed type of Pokemon in my opinion, and it looks cool, but people love it. So hopefully people can feel the same about this design. I still think it has some aspects of like it being kind of cute in some ways, but also kind of being weird and gross. So hopefully people will like it. I personally think it's pretty cool. So here is Aura Void, the Shadow Bloat Pokemon, and its Bug and Twilight type. Bloated with a mixture of shadow and light, this Pokemon can unleash a torrent of Twilight energy from its tentacles. Its form serves as a bridge between Hyrule and the realm of Twilight. Its name is a combination of aura and void, and its shiny is kind of inspired by if it was just more, and its shiny is kind of inspired as if it was more of a purified Tears of Light form of a Twilight creature. And it evolves from Cephashell whenever you fill your vessel of light. Its battle ability is Black Lightning. Anytime Aura Void returns to the battlefield, it uses Black Lightning. Black Lightning is a Thunder type move that deals damage to all Pokemon on the battlefield and has a high chance to paralyze. And it drops a Purifying Teardrop, which I imagine would be some sort of held item that maybe boosts Twilight type moves or something of the sort. So as you can see, I actually really like this design a lot. You can kind of see that I replaced kind of the more fleshy, gross ones with something that looks more like it was from the Twilight realm. And I felt like that was a fun way of making it feel almost like it's more like it's from the Twilight realm than the actual original. But, overall though, I think I really enjoy this line. I think it's a nice addition to the roster, and I hope that you guys also like it. So let me know what you guys think, and I will see you next time.